Rebuilding Uganda, episode number 9C. This is a continuation on the Tutsi colonization plan of the Great Lakes region. Today is November 9, 2025. As promised before, we have broken this plan in 3 pieces, explaining how each rule is applied today. There are 18 rules. We have covered so far the first 11 rules. Now we are going to expose the remaining rules. Rule number 12. We must master completely all the members of the other ethnic groups whom we manage to control, especially Bantu farmers, and make them promote our interests. And a quote. My fellow Ugandans, do you see how these invaders took over the agricultural economy of our country? They destroyed all the growers' cooperatives in order to impoverish the people. They introduced the so-called circle, through which they milk the last shilling from unsuspecting individuals who go there to borrow money and end up losing their last piece of assets, mostly their land. Uganda's coffee, cotton, and other income-generating products, including fish from our lakes, are benefiting them alone. The most, if not all, the wealth belongs to them, and our people end up crawling almost every night to people like Salim Saleh and others for financial favors. They have taken our land and forced indigenous people to live in excruciating poverty. This is happening in many parts of Uganda. Case in point is what is happening in the county of Bugerere in Buganda Kingdom, where men like Karangwa and Tumukunde pushed people off their land. Those 2 invaders now own an alarming sizable portion of that county. Rule number 13. Every Tutsi must know that every Hutu has been created to be a servant and that no Hutu must ever become a leader. Hutu must not be aware of this principle until it is too late for them. You must control progressively all the key positions in the administration and finally have in every district a director who protects our interests. End of quote. Now this is an interesting rule. This rule was echoed by Rwabogo, Muhozi, and Gashumba. Rwabogo revealed some years ago that Bantu people must be made poor and be our servants and slaves. We must deny them of good health and good education. Muhozi made it clear repeatedly that they are the ones to determine who will lead Uganda after his father. He went on to say that we cannot allow any other person to become president of Uganda. Gashumba emphasized this rule also when he said, we, the Bavandimwe, are the ones to decide who becomes the leader of Uganda. End quote. That is why they have positioned themselves in every strategic position of power and control in the military, intelligence, and the opposition parties as well. They occupy all RDC positions, the Electoral Commission, and every person in charge of elections from the bottom up is them. Education officers and headmasters of senior secondary schools are either them or spineless puppets of theirs. Rule number 14. Every Tutsi must use every means possible to lead all Hutu civil servants to an inferiority complex. Fellow Ugandans, have you noticed how these people inflate themselves to give an impression that they are the most learned, most intelligent, and the most in everything. Any other person who may shine more than them is either killed or put down in a barrage of social media ridicule and character assassination. This is going on all the time. Remember what they did to Professor Bukenya's son, who scored more at Sandhurst Military Academy in Britain than their drunkard Muhoozi. Remember General Okech, who proved to be a far better military commander in Somalia and gained the respect of American sponsors of that war. He obviously outshined their own Muhoozi and had to be killed. See what they have done to Uganda's schools and entire educational system. While their children attend international schools or are sent abroad for education, our children are left to study under trees and overcrowded makeshift shelters built out of papyrus and grass with unqualified teachers. I'm sure many of you have seen that picture of a school near the home of the so-called Speaker of Parliament in Bukedea, where the children are in a papyrus school, while she built a huge mansion nearby. Rule number 15. Any Hutu caring about his fellow faiths must be kept off and denied any access to the population. Fellow Ugandans, have you noticed how this rule is applied today, especially in the social media? People who talk trash and those who are indirectly promoting Tutsi interests receive widespread exposure in social media, radio, and TV interviews. But those who offer wisdom and knowledge are tactfully sidelined. Those people who are granted significant access to the population are carefully selected to be part of a broader strategy to sustain the Tutsis' empire rather than challenging them. Or they are facilitating other bigger plans, such as General Muhoozi's taking over after his father, Museveni. This is also reflected in the privilege they enjoy from the Tutsi government, which includes over 80 million shillings monthly income, SFC protection at home and everywhere they go, ability to move freely throughout Uganda, ability to travel in and out of the country without interruption, liberty to say anything with impunity, etc., etc. Rule number 16. Remind all the Tutsi youth that they must join the AJIR, because if we do not succeed by our cleverness, we must use violence. The Tutsi youth must support the Tutsi civil servants, use terror, and exploit the intelligence provided by our spies and informants. Ladies and gentlemen, although the AJIL rebels were in Kivu province of Congo 65 years ago, currently the Tutsis have M23, SFC, CMI, and of course UPDF. The violence and the brutality which those people have inflicted upon Ugandans is overwhelming and well known to all. And by the way, it is going on as we are talking. Notice how many Tutsi youth are recruited and given the best military and intelligence training better than the indigenous recruits. One example is your David Louis Rukrimana and many others who have attended the best schools abroad. There are many reports of recruits from everywhere, especially in their area of Western Uganda who are now studying abroad on government scholarships. And you can hardly find a Muganda, Musoga, Mugishu, Acholi, Itesoti, Olangi among those scholarship holders. There are many reports of recruiting young people in every district, pretending to show that recruitment took place among all the tribes of Uganda. However, the night before the official day of signing up new recruits, a busload of Tutsi young is delivered to such areas, let's say Soroti, and get recruited from there, pretending to have recruited young boys from among the Itesot, which is not true.